Welcome back. On this episode of the Neo Marketing Podcast, we're going to talk about branding for startups.
Welcome to the weekly Neo Marketing Podcast, featuring one half of the Golden Group C-Suite, Kyle Golding, and Prince Pritchard, APR PRSA Fellow.
Kyle, you've been doing a lot of stuff on branding for startups here recently. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's true. I was in Stillwater recently, the tech tour with the Results Junkies and Marketing Mondays. Another thing I'm doing with the NW-OKC Chamber. But ultimately, everyone wants to know about marketing for the business, marketing and advertising. But branding is step one. It's where you start. There's a lot of misconceptions still about branding, especially when it comes to startups. Everyone wants to get so focused on the product and the idea, and they want to launch so fast. They just want to get out in the world. And branding is essential for a solid launch, connecting with the right audience, getting the right feedback early so that you can position your product or service correctly and continue to draw the right audiences in the future. Don't skimp or skip out on branding, and it's because it's expensive and it's work.
It is work.
But it's essential. And the other thing people miss is the branding process, the exploring what your product or service does and what benefits your company has, strengths and weaknesses, opportunities, threats, right? We all have strengths and weaknesses. You got to be honest with yourself about that. Competitive analysis. How is it going to fit in the industry? That position is the main information that you use in branding to understand how to name something, the color schemes, the approach, the tone, etc., right? Well, all those branding elements are also, all that information also rolls into your launch marketing, your continual marketing, and then, because we always say, right, marketing is a two-way conversation.
Right.
That two-way conversation on your pre-launch and your launch, and when your product or service gets into the industry as a startup, you need that feedback from your audience to tell you, we love this, but we don't like this. Right. We think it's great here, but we don't think so much here. And that you can roll that back into,
this. Right?
The development of the product.
Yeah. To me, you have to understand yourself first. And that process, as difficult as it can be at times, maybe tedious, it is really important to that. If you understand yourself, then the other things follow. Is that your take?
Definitely. And step one of understanding yourself and understanding your startup is to understand this. The best branding, the best marketing, the smartest folks in the room won't save a shit product. Right. You can only polish a turd so much. That's
right?
So
Sorry.
If your idea sucks,
sorry, Mom.
If your idea sucks, if your product isn't that good or it's unoriginal, you're just copying someone else, or you don't build this right system around it, the right business structure around it, the right team around it, you can't put slick marketing on it with a great branding and expect it to work out, because the branding should be authentic and true to the nature of the product or service. So it goes hand in hand. Start your branding process early. You can't be too early, right? So you don't want to develop a product that is based on an idea for brand, like, oh, we got a great name or a great logo, so let's build a product to match it. No, that's backwards.
Right.
But you also can't get the product completely done. You're in your MVP, your minimally viable product. You can't get there and then start saying, well, how are we going to market this? You have to have these conversations along the way. They're a nice little pairing that cycle together and inform each other back and forth. Don't start with branding, but don't wait to the very end to do your branding.
So where do people usually make their mistake? Do they roll the product out and then worry about the branding, or do they worry about the branding and then worry about the product?
They do one or the other, but at an extreme.
Yeah.
So they either get super up on the branding and the marketing tactics before the rollout, before the product is a real product. And then when it comes time to actually launch it, roll it out, and have that two-way conversation with your audience, they're not listening. They're set in, this is awesome, and it's typically their ego. So,
right.
Hey, I've been accused of this before too, so I know this. Typically someone's ego, or we just are in love with our idea, we're going to force it down people's throat.
Right.
So that's the one way that you can go all the way in the wrong direction and completely fail.
On the branding side.
On the branding side. The other thing is to wait too long and to literally have, through your beta, your MVP, you're actually in the market with no identity. Yeah. Now, you're going to be soft in the market with no identity, because trust me, no one's clamoring for something that you can't explain to them.
Right.
But if you're so soft on a launch and you're identity is so minimal or non-existent because you haven't done the branding, because you won't do the work. That's SWOT analysis and competitive analysis we talked about earlier. If you won't do that, and if you're not creating a two-way conversation via your marketing, then your product is going to fail because it's just a thing sitting there that no one knows anything or cares about. If the idea is that sort of your audience is going to tell you what they want, or you're just so afraid to commit, and that's typically what happens here. It's ego on the other side, but on this side, it's fear.
Reluctance.
It's fear of committal. Well, if we name it this or we launch it like this, then we're just stuck with that, and if people don't like it, we're screwed, which is not true either.
Right.
You don't change your branding very, very often outside of great pivots or huge swings in your industry.
Right. But you can adjust.
You can adjust, and you can make really good adjustments in your marketing. So even if your branding launch isn't exactly what it needs to be, you can uptake some of that in your marketing if you need to. It's not ideal, but it can happen. So you can't get so paralyzed by fear that you launch without an identity, and you can't get so locked into an identity that you develop a product without any idea of what the audience is really looking for.
Right. This is fairly new into the venture space, but what I'm seeing is people have a great calling. They see a problem. They want to solve the problem.
Passion.
They have passion about it. Exactly. Where in that continuum do you recommend they start the branding process?
I think once you get over the decision, the hump that you are going to actually do a thing. Once it goes from an idea, wouldn't it be nice, or we could,
right?
And once you sit down and start saying, well, if we put together this type of team or this type of technology, or if we get a space, or if we connect with some partners and we commit dollars X, Y, and Z to this idea that can become a product, that can become a service, that can become a company that can be launched, that's where you need to now start talking about, and that's the question. I always joke, right? I say the marketing department should run an entire company.
Right.
Because, the sales guys think they can sell anything, and the engineers and code writers, they just want to make cool stuff. Right. And, the CEO just wants to be successful, but the marketing people, we got to figure out how to market and sell this product. So you just have to start asking those questions. Who's asking for this? What problem are we solving? What's our position in the industry? Does it already exist? Are we doing it differently? It's not about being better. It's about being different.
Right.
That's where people fail too. Well, we'll just do it better. Everyone says they'll just do it better.
Right.
Don't be better. Be different. Unique approach, delivery method, price modules, something like that people can go, well, I understand what it is, but the way you do it is the way I like it to be done.
Right.
And then there's that too, is don't try to attract everyone, right? Everyone is not your client. So don't try to build something that's for everyone. Well, when we get into marketing, we answer those questions. We say, here's our audience, no one else, just our audience here. Here's our position in the industry.
Right.
Here's what our competitors do well and not so well. Here's what we do well and not so well. And right in the middle there is our position, right? That marketing, branding conversation has to happen once you committed to do something, but before you start spending too much money and time and effort, because you might convince yourself it's not worth doing at all.
Right.
Hey, no one's doing this. Well, once you do the research, you might find out some people are doing it really well. Maybe they're leveraged. Maybe they're backed by Google or Apple or someone like that.
Right.
And you're like, oh, wait, we're not going to take them out as easy as we thought. That marketing work will answer some of those questions for you. So that's where the branding process starts, and then it rolls into your marketing development of the product if it moves forward.
And just to kind of bring it full circle, it's understanding who you are and where you are in the marketplace and what you want to try and achieve.
Positioning is everything, folks. Position. If you have a place in your industry that you can dominate, that you can be the best in that place, and it's your strengths versus your competitors' weaknesses in a way that people are looking to buy or engage a product or service. If you find it and you can legitimately own it, not because you think you can, but because it's something you've really built into your system, that position is all the strength for your company to be successful. If you can't find a position in the industry, if you're a Me Too, and this is not the current Me Too movement. This is the old idea of Me Too being, hey, that looks like they're making a lot of money. I'm going to do that too. Me Too, right?
Right.
Don't be a Me Too. Find a position. If you can't find a position, you maybe shouldn't do what you're trying to do.
Maybe need to rethink things. Absolutely. Well, thanks, Kyle. We appreciate the advice, and we hope that you'll tune in, check all of our links down below, and until we see you on the next episode, Ciao.
Good luck.